My name is Allison Bance, and I'm a senior property manager with Kimley and Haygood. I've been the property manager associated with the Peyton Building since 2004. Last summer, the STA Plaza closed down their designated smoking area, and at that time, the smokers and the people loitering and the people trespassed off of the STA Plaza have tended to congregate onto the Post Street area. That has caused a significant amount of problems for the retail tenants on Post Street, the office tenants in the Peyton Building, the shops, and all the businesses up and down the Post Street corridor. So with the historic renovation of the Davenport, the addition of the Davenport Towers, and the addition of the Hotel Luso, the Post Street corridor down to River Park Square has really been the economic engine of the renovation of downtown Spokane. The following are testimonials from businesses that are being affected by this problem.
My name is Julie Katzer. I own Bruce Brothers Lounge on the corner of Sprague and Post, and I rent from Kimley and Haygood in the Peyton Building. The problem that we're having right now on Post Street is the plaza has removed the smoking section on Wall Street, and so it has pushed all of the smokers and street kids to Post Street, where they are causing issues with smoking and language and spitting and issues with customers not being able to get inside my door and having to walk through 5 or 6 people smoking, and the language is terrible, and so it's ruining the businesses on Post Street. So another issue we're having due to the smoking being removed is they are trespassed from the plaza, and so they're coming to my business asking for change or to use my restroom or to just sit in my cafe. And so I'll say, well, why don't you go to the plaza? They have restrooms and seats and phones. The another thing is they always want to use my phone. And they'll say, well, I can't go into the plaza. So I don't know why I would let them in my business if they are trespassed off the plaza. So it's bringing all of the chaos and misfits into my business. So in the last 6 months, my business was doing great previous to the smoking section being removed. And now my business at 9, 10 in the morning, my cafe is empty when usually it was hard to even find a seat in my cafe. So, and in the afternoons, people aren't even wanting to come over because it's worse in the afternoons because everybody's hanging out front and they're loitering. And so now people aren't even wanting to come to my cafe in the afternoon. So it's completely just ruining it. It's making it to where it's exhausting and not fun being part of the downtown area anymore.
I'm George Arenot. I'm the Chief Executive of Career Path Services. We're a tenant in the Peyton Building. We're a nonprofit 501c3. We've got about 20 employees in this space. It's our headquarters for 17 locations in the state. We're a workforce development and employment training organization. We help people find employment, help businesses find the talent that they need. Well, we've had an issue for a while now in front of the Peyton Building where crowds gather, and it's not so much the people who gather, but the behaviors that they've been displaying. And so today, I've been hearing stories over the last several weeks about uncomfortable situations, employees and customers alike not feeling safe. We've got customers who come to us in this location, and they're people with disabilities, so people with developmental disabilities, IQs of 70 and below, as well as people with sensory impairments. So we've got some folks who are blind, deaf, and wheelchair users also coming to the space. What I'm hearing from people in the building as well as our customers is that folks just don't feel safe, particularly when they're having to navigate through crowds. The behaviors have been rude, comments have been made to women in particular about their appearance. People won't move when they've been asked. Folks will be yelling. It's particularly concerning for our people with developmental disabilities. We have 2 women who are regular customers, and they are blind. They use service dogs to navigate their way through crowds or around. And our staff have observed that crowds won't accommodate them when they see the blind person approaching. And so our staff have begun to escort them in and out of the building. We also have 2 customers, a man and a woman, and all of these folks are unrelated, who use canes because they have severe sight impairments. And they too don't get accommodated when they're navigating through the sidewalk. What's a particular concern is that we've seen people get cut off. They can't see very well, so when crowds cut in and out, they're not accommodating the person with disability. When folks congregate on the street corners, they're standing in the curb cuts, and so a person with a wheelchair is unable to navigate their way into the walk. We've had people who are fighting, yelling, and so I had one employee say she stood behind the front doors and waited until the shouting match was over, and the shouting match actually moved down the street before she was willing to exit the building. One of our employees has a good friend that works downtown, and she got a text from this friend saying, "You might want to wash your car because I just saw somebody urinating on it." Because we're working with people with disabilities, they have the parking stickers that allow them to park at the meters. They come and pick up or drop off clients. And so we have staff regularly parking in front of the building. When they attempt to park, people are standing in these empty parking spots, smoking, talking, and they refuse to move. I had one employee tell me today that she was yelled at last week because she was attempting to move into this empty parking spot, and the woman yelled, "I don't have anywhere to smoke." We've had other employees try to park their cars, and people sitting on the curbs with their legs sticking out refuse to move. Or when they're in their parked spots, people are standing between the cars smoking, and they refuse to move even though the person can't back up without hitting them. Those are examples of the problems that we've had in front of the Peyton building. We've had several customers say they don't want to come to our office anymore because they just don't feel safe. I've heard from many people, both those who live in town and those who are from out of town visiting, that they don't want to walk on that side of the street. And so the economic impact may be felt by some of our local business neighbors, because I know that they're not getting customers walking into their shops because there are groups congregating in front of their doors. So I feel bad for them, and I know that's true with our customers. They just don't want to come to our place of business. So I have staff that do go out into the community and meet them at a safer place, safer to the customer at least. But this should be a jewel, this traffic corridor should be a showcase for our city, and it's not right now.
My name is Chris Powell. I'm the Director of Security for the Davenport Hotel Collection, which encompasses the Davenport Historic Hotel, the Davenport Tower, and also Hotel Luso and the Post Street Ale House. Well, we've noticed a dramatic increase in the foot traffic on Post Street between Riverside and Sprague in the past month or so. And with that amount of people that we know with the group is causing blocking of sidewalks, the behavior that they've, with profanity, very confrontational behavior toward pedestrians in the area. And we've had a number of complaints from our guests, just recent complaints that, in fact, this last weekend, a guest in a complaint that's log documented within our system said that much as she loves the Davenport Hotel, has stayed previously with the amount of, and she used the word transients downtown, she wasn't sure she'd come back and stay. And that's not just one. We're hearing from the Post Street Ale House, they've had a number of incidents from this group that hangs out, for lack of better words, on Post Street. They come up to the window and when our guests or customers are sitting eating, and they'll take their cameras out, they'll take a picture of the guest. They've pulled their shirts up, pushed their chests up against the glass of the window. And it's just that kind of behavior, but it's intimidating enough that we again have guests that don't want to walk from our hotels to River Park Square as an example. They've asked for direction how to circumvent the Post Street, and or on occasion they'll just ask for the town car service to take them to down to the River Park Square. Nobody denies the fact that everybody certainly has a right to be on the public sidewalk. And what we're after is the people's whose behavior is counterproductive to everybody, to businesses, And again, it's a lot of that confrontational attitude towards people passing by, the profanity they use, littering, just a lot of bad behavior, and some of it is obviously very illegal. We feel that a lot of what has happened is when the STA Plaza closed their smoking area that was on the east side of the building on Wall Street, this group a large group of people that again are intent on doing nothing else but causing grief for the most part for people that are down here to have a good time, to enjoy the restaurants, the hotels, the events that we have going in our hotels this weekend, as an example, we're sold out. We're at 100% occupancy. People from all around the country are here for several different events that are happening in town, and these people have a very detrimental effect on the guests and their experience when they go downtown.
Well, my name is Diana Davenport. I'm an employee of Standard Insurance Company, and we've rented space in the Peyton building for, gosh, it's been going on 10 years maybe. We have a new service manager. We did some restructuring, and now we have I report to a service manager in Portland. And so he had never been to Spokane. It was his first visit here, and he came to see the office and get a lay of the land, and he was appalled because our lease is up. And he knows that, and I don't know if it's been negotiated yet or not, but I know he's keeping that in his back pocket, that, you know, if this doesn't improve, we'll need to find space elsewhere.
What we have discovered in doing research with other cities, that it is common in other cities that when an entity like the STA goes into a certain area, there is a working arrangement put in place between the cities and the entity, such as the STA, and adjacent property owners in terms of what are the rights and responsibilities of all the parties concerned. So what we discovered in doing our research was at the time that the STA Plaza was put into place with the original environmental impact statement in 1990 and the subsequent amendment to that in 1992, that was never put in place. So what we are trying to work with the city and with the STA and now coming to the City Council to try and work with all parties concerned to come to a mutual working arrangement. In addition to the retail tenants having issues on Post Street, we have a vacancy on Post Street, and the current activity of the smokers and the loiterers are making it impossible for us to be able to lease that space, which is causing significant economic impacts for the owners of the Peyton building. STA funding a second police officer patrolling around the plaza, STA funding an additional health officer who can enforce the state statute prohibiting smoking in public places, RCW Chapter 70.160, expanding the limited commission of the STA security to include citing for smoking, littering, and matters set forth as in SMC Chapter 10.10, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. This issue is affecting a lot of the people in the hub of our downtown area, and we look forward to a continued discussion on the matter.